Hey everybody, my name is Derek Christensen and I'm a probate attorney in Dallas, Texas. Today I wanted to talk to you about, can I even skip probate in the first place and avoid this whole mess? It's a great question. You should absolutely ask it, but before I dive into that answer, let me tell you to reach out to me. You can find me in my email, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com, or you can go to my website, www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, let's dive right in. Now, most of the time, you're probably not going to be able to avoid probate, but you should absolutely ask the question and you should find out, because if you can avoid probate, don't do it. It's not worth your time, money, and effort. Probate, for those who do not know, is the legal process by which we take a deceased person's estate and we split it up and we find out who's in charge and how do we split it up by going before a judge and having him sign a order or a document or whatever. By getting that document, we can then go to other parties and we say, hey, a judge signed off on this. We must do this. Please make this happen. And they will start transferring everything and all the work happens behind the scenes. And then you finally inherit all the assets after a while. But that while is pretty long. Sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 6, sometimes it takes several years to go through probate. And it's just simply not fun nor easy. So my recommendation is, if you can avoid probate, you should find out immediately, and this is what this video is trying to help you figure out. So, can you avoid probate? The answer is yes, but it depends. And it depends on a lot of factors all lining up perfectly. You gotta have the stars perfect above your head before you can avoid the probate gods. And the reason why is because oftentimes there are assets that are not able to be transferred without going through probate. And the more types of assets you have, the more likely it is that at least one of those is going to require you to go through probate. However, the fewer the assets in total that you have to go through probate for, the better. And the ways that you can avoid probate with those assets are almost always beneficiary designations. These are going to be, well, for those who don't know, beneficiary designations are a specific addition onto an asset that says, whenever I die, please give this asset to this person or these people in X number of shares or whatever. This little information is legally superior to all wills, trusts, and even if you don't have a will. And so it will happen no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have the best will in the world or the trust that says differently. A beneficiary designation is going to happen. So if you die, it will automatically happen, and that asset is going to avoid probate entirely. Which means if you have all assets that have all beneficiary designations, then you're good to go. You can avoid probate entirely, and your loved ones do not have to go through it. However, there are some drawbacks on beneficiary designations. You're going to have to keep them up to date to make sure that they're accurate. You know, what if little Johnny said the wrong thing at Christmas and you want to kick him out? Well, you need to make sure your beneficiary designation changes to reflect little Johnny no longer receiving that asset, because, again, even if you put in your will, I don't like little Johnny, Johnny's the worst, he's not receiving anything, he's still going to receive something if that beneficiary designation says so. However, there are many times where people have assets that don't have beneficiary designations, and these are going to be very common assets like vehicles. Cars don't come with beneficiary designations automatically. Houses, real estate, oftentimes do not have beneficiary designations. Now in Texas, you can technically have a transfer on death deed or a ladybird deed. I've made videos about that as well, so you're welcome to check that out. But 99.9% of houses do not have beneficiary designations on them. So if you have a house and there is no beneficiary designation on it, or it's not owned by a trust, you are most likely going to have to go through probate for that house. And you'll go through probate for every single house in every single county that you own. So if you have you have one in Tarrant County, one in Collin County, one in Dallas County, you're going through 3 different probates whenever you pass away. Not fun. If those don't have beneficiary designations, that is. Another common asset is bank accounts. So these are not retirement accounts. Retirement accounts almost always have beneficiary designations on them. Double check to make sure that's the case. But bank accounts, checking and savings accounts, some of the times they don't, sometimes they do. And if they do, great. They're transfer on death, payable on death accounts, that's what they're called technically, and that's putting a beneficiary designation on that account. However, if you don't have that, which many people don't, then you won't be able to access those assets until you go through probate. See this? You see the trend here? So again, beneficiary designations are a great way to avoid probate. If you can put a beneficiary designation on an asset, you should absolutely do it. However, if you can't, or if you just don't have the time to do so or whatever, you should definitely set up a trust, a revocable living trust, and you will want to transfer that asset into the trust. And by doing so, you will then have the trust avoid probate as well. I've made videos on that, so you can check that out as well. But the moral of the story is that the best ways to avoid probate are to make sure you have beneficiary designations on everything that you own, or have a trust, or both. And if you really want to, you can sell those assets or get rid of them so that you can lower the complication. And if you think that there's an asset that you simply will have to go through probate for and you're near death, you can technically get rid of it, and therefore you won't have to go through probate. But that's kind of a playing with, trying to time your death perfectly, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. So either way, that's kind of the main strategies to accomplish that. There are, of course, other ways to do it, but those are the main ways to go about it. And really, it's just making sure your paperwork is organized. It's making sure that you have a vested interest in making sure that what you want to have happen actually happens. And that's going to take some boring paperwork, calling up your banker, calling up your, whatever else, and figuring it out. So it's not fun, it's not easy, but trust me, when you go through probate once, you don't want to go through it again, and you'll have a little bit more fire underneath you to get you pushed in that direction. So use this video as a reference. Feel free to email me, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com, or you can go to my website, or you can go to the Contact Us page and schedule a free consultation over the phone directly on my calendar at www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, have a great day, and thanks for watching.